occasional series of Inside Out Business Boosters, which is designed to inspire you to take action and boost your business success. On this Hangout, I'm delighted to have with me two of my three principals and business mentors whom I've been working with for the last 9 months. That's Sue Pankiewicz and Sheela Masand. And through working with Sheela and Sue, I just know what a brilliant combination they bring to helping people get what they want from their businesses. The mixture of the three principles, which underlines everything as we know, and it just business common sense, down to earth common sense about sales and marketing and business in general. That's what these two are all about, and that's what we really want to give you a flavour of when we're enjoying this Google Hangout that we're about to start on. And also, we're talking about playing the game of business to win, and Sheela and Sue's vision as they talk about how you can do that. Play a game to win. It can be enjoyable. It should be enjoyable, shouldn't it? We're in business to enjoy ourselves. So without further ado, I'm going to introduce Sheela and Sue in a moment, and also just to let you know that if you hear something, if you get touched, moved and inspired by the way Sheela and Sue are sharing this, and you feel you'd like to explore more deeply with them, then we'll also be giving you an opportunity and telling you how you can do that as well during this call. So I'd love to invite Sheela and Sue to say hello, and also I don't know who wants to start because I've never done a three-way conversation before. So if one of you would like to jump in there, and just introduce yourselves a bit and tell people who you are and what you do.
Do you want to go first, Sue? I don't mind.
Yeah, I'm happy to. Hello everyone. My name is Sue Pankiewicz, and I run my own little business called Principled Wellbeing, which I've been sharing the principles since 2004, and then I've worked with various partners, but the present incarnation, which has been going since 2010, is Principled Wellbeing, and I've enjoyed a whole range of let's say serving my clients, my people, from doing mini retreats in my own home, which I absolutely love, to one-to-one clients, couples, working with young people, and working with a range of issues that come up. But actually, if I was to pick one that's most frequent, it's interesting because it would be around worry, anxiety, and fear. Well, fear cuts across all grounds really, but that would be my assessment of where what people bring to me, and it's interesting. I've heard many coaches say this: you meet the clients or clients come to you because they sense that there's going to be an understanding and a connection there, and I feel that my story prior to the principles would it contain quite a lot of that fear, uncertainty, insecurity, and anxiety. So it's great to be, if you like, moving away from that, on and on away from that. I can't emphasize how far away from that now, but still to be in connection with people who want to make that journey themselves. So and I'm based in Colchester in south of England, southeast of England, or probably East Anglia. I should know where it is, shouldn't I really? Anyway, here I am.
Right. Is it my turn?
It is.
Well, you've just said you kind of know where you are. I kind of know where I am. I'm in Spain. Yeah, on the Costa Blanca in Spain, and I've been here for 28 years now. Just a very brief recap of a little bit of my journey here. I mean, I came out here as a tonsil vet, which is interesting in itself. Didn't want to stay, but here I am anyway. Fell in love, got married, had children. And somewhere along the way, I always knew that I was going to go into business, and somewhere along the way I did. Just fell into it quite, I think, by accident. I wasn't looking to import food and drink from the UK. It just sort of found me. Found myself with a business partner, he was absolutely brilliant, fantastic salesman. So I did pick up some stuff from him about sales, but I wasn't the lead salesperson by any means in the company. I was the lady in the background that did the ordering and did the admin and spoke lots of Spanish because he didn't speak any Spanish, so I kept that bit going. But somewhere along the way, again, I felt that wasn't my path for me anymore. Got onto a spiritual path via yoga, and decided I wanted to get out into the world and start helping people and making a difference, rather than selling bacon and sausage, which wasn't my thing anymore because I was now a vegetarian and it didn't suit me. So I found myself, after looking at many therapies, going on many courses, getting lots of certificates, coaching included, the 3 principles found me, as they say, back in 2010, I think it was, 2010. Had a lot of money, thinking around money, lots of financial insecurity, and so I reached out when JB Smart sent an email that said, if the secret's so great, show me the money. I thought, yes, I've been doing this law of attraction stuff. Now it's time for me to actually look at what's not working. So I thought he was going to teach me all about how to make more money, more techniques, more tools. That didn't happen. He instead, thank God, I feel now, showed me, pointed me in the direction of, our security does not come from money. And so that helped me drop some of my money story. I'm not going to lie and say, yeah, I'm totally free of that now. I don't have any insecure thinking about money. It still pops in. It's that sort of, old story that can rear its ugly head. But it took me on this journey of the 3 principles. I was already coaching and helping heart-based service solopreneurs, as I call them, with their businesses, because I'd learned how to market and get sales and get clients. So I really enjoyed helping others do what they love to do. So that's my passion. And now what seems to have happened is just sort of evolved into, it seems to be pretty much all 3 principal facilitators that I'm helping grow their businesses, which is fabulous, because it's my passion. How did that happen? Just evolved that way. So that's what I do. And as you said, Gillian, very honoured to have you as part of the programme, on this Grow Your Biz programme for this second time round, and just love seeing 3 principal facilitators flourishing and being able to do what they love to do, and that's help people. I think that's what we're all in it for. We see the power of sharing the principles. We see the changes that can happen in people's lives. I think it's Michael O'Neill that coined the phrase of, nothing changes on the outside, everything looks different. And working with 3 principal facilitators, being able to help them help other people do that is just such a joy. So that's kind of a very quick synopsis of how I've arrived to where I am now, kind of thing. Yeah, and so here we are now, Sue and I working together as business partners, and we saw that a business retreat here in Spain. Sue's been out here a couple of times, and we've just finished a retreat actually with Amy Chen Mills Naeem. Well, it's at the tail end. We've still got 3 people here, and just that retreat setting in itself is just it's beautiful, just being so relaxed and just ripe for insights, really ripe for insights. That's what the feedback that we've had so far has just been how wonderful it's been, just to be so relaxed, chilled. That's it, relaxed and chilled, and just be in the moment. So that's why a business retreat for me personally, and I think Sue would agree, because we've talked about it obviously lots, it just seems optimal, the optimal setting in which to address a very tricky subject.
I'm curious actually as how you 2 got together and then we can go back to what you were saying.
Where did we meet, Sue?
We met on a course in Coggeshall.
Mm-hmm.
I think that was, I don't know who was leading it, but it was
Rudy and Jenny.
Thanks to Rudy and Jen for some of their, obviously continuing, but their earlier work, as it were. And I don't know if it was a blinding connection first time, but that it just, out of everybody there, we connect with everyone, but somehow we then had a conversation at some point. And I think at that point, or not long after that, we had a Skype, and I was dying to ask you some questions, but I was really thinking, on what basis can I ask any questions that might help me with my business? I'd have to become a client. I don't know how I feel about being coached. And I've said to you since then, actually, it took me a while to wake up to the fact that you could describe that as me being uncoachable. I had so much thinking about where I should be by now or where I should have been by then. And pretty fixed ideas at the same time as gaining understanding of the principles, which was telling me that it's just, it's all just thought. I'm making all of it up. But I think for all of us, we see some of the stuff we're making up and other stuff still looks real. So I think that's how I remember it. And then I think we met at the conference. That was probably the next step along, and Mark was there as well. So, and again the next year. But I think at that point we were having more regular contact, and I think Space for Connection. That very first one,
that was
just
real.
Yeah. So I think that sort of sums it up. And
you being the wonderful hostess that you invited me to stay, and that's for anybody else. She's amazing. She's always got people staying with her. It's just amazing. So that was it. Yeah, very kind. Yeah, we had lots of fun.
Yeah, exactly.
Which we intend to do on the retreat for sure.
Yeah. And you talked about the environment part of that. And again, some of my thinking in the past would have been, well, it doesn't really matter about your environment. You could do this in a cellar. You could do this in a penthouse suite. But I've since softened all of that into thinking I'm just human. I now can see that certain things help me enormously and certain things are less helpful. And I realise what's creating that, but I accept that's where I am in any moment, or try to accept where I am in any moment, or to see that's where I am. So when you mentioned that, that seemed such an idyllic, it's not perfect, but it has, having been over there and just recently finished the Jack Pransky training, just experiencing it from a learner's point of view, being there as a learner, being there as a participant, amongst friends, but still, if you like, learning from Jack. It's just different to, I don't know, taking a correspondence course or doing the whole thing virtually like this. There's something about that feeling. And I think all of us talk about the feeling. And we know where feeling comes from, but somehow it just enhances our ability to just slip off a bit of tight thinking, just without even knowing we're doing it, slip it off, sit back, take deep breaths naturally. It's not like, right, now we've got to relax. It just happens. So for me, that just seemed like a no-brainer. If you're going to invest in yourself, then it seems to me, take a look at somewhere that's going to actually feel really nice and have a lot of stuff, around it. Anyway, that's just my take on it.
And I mean, the two of you seem to me have this lovely synergy, and I think in some of the words we wrote about this hangout, we said something about you're the two sides of the same coin. I don't know whether you'd like to explore that with each other as to what not strengths and weaknesses, but what's that sparkle of magic dust that you both bring that works so well together?
Ooh. Well, maybe you see that clearer than we do, Gillian. I don't know. For me, I mean, Sue, I love working with Sue because we said this earlier on today because we had a chat earlier on about the call and making sure everything was ready and how to get on it and things like that. And it's this is what we said. Or I said, you know what? I'm just going to be me and you be you, because I find myself veering off because I admire Sue's understanding. I think she's got such a fabulous understanding of the three principles and of life and in general. And I suppose I get a little bit mesmerised by what she says to a certain degree, and I start thinking, oh yeah, she's right. Oh yeah, she's right. So I may have some thoughts about something, and then I'll go drifting off into her world, and then it's when she said, oh, I feel exactly the same about you, and you say this, and I think, oh, I'm getting it wrong, and I'll go into your world. But that was a real wake-up call for me, that it reminded me, we're all individuals with our own thoughts, or even the way we think, and And I talk all the time about being authentic and being yourself, and that's what your business is about being you. And I just found that really curious, you know, that here I am being veered off. And so to go back to your question about what's that magic dust or how do we work together, I think it is because we are very, I don't know if we're very different personalities, but we've got different personalities. But we always, I don't think we tend to see eye to eye on things, but in a different way, if that makes sense. It's we wouldn't be able to work together if we didn't have the same, I suppose, the same thread running through everything that we want to do. We just wouldn't be able to do it. It's just we do it in different ways. So we've got this common. I don't even want to call it belief, just knowledge or knowing or understanding as well of the way we see things isn't always exactly the same. I don't think anybody sees everything the same, but our end goal or our reason for is the same. You know, that's the way I see it. I see that thread's there for us, so we're pointing in the same direction, and the direction we're pointing in at the moment is to really help 3 principal facilitators do what they want to do to get out into the world. And because we've both experienced what it feels like, the frustration of not being able to do that, to do the work that we love and help the people we want to help and earn a living, being able to pay the bills at the same time. You know, it's great being able to do what you love, and we could do it all day long for nothing. But when it boils down to it, we can't do that if we're not earning a living. And I think Sue and I both are on the same page with that. You know, it's time. I know Sue, you can speak for yourself. I was going to say, you know, you spent a long time, as you said earlier on, not being able to do that or having a lot of thinking around it and being frustrated with not being able to do what you want to do. But you don't feel like that anymore.
No, and I think one of the words we're likely to come up with during this call as well is finding the ease. Because I had certain fixed ideas and I was just going around in circles. And it wasn't that I didn't have a business and I haven't had clients, because that's been going. But growing my business seemed to be stunted or held back because I thought there were certain directions I needed to and I had to go in. And it didn't feel like me. And since we also laughed this earlier on, didn't we, about not caring. Since I've given up caring about what I should be doing or thinking there is the path for me, I create my own path. But I thought I didn't see that so clearly. And with regard to us, I couldn't sit here and share and teach people in the way that you can about business. I've learned a lot about business from you and from that experience. So it would be very inauthentic of me to sit here and say, oh, you know, we're 50%, we're going to do 50% of the business stuff and 50%. Actually, it doesn't feel like that at all. To me, you're going to be, you would be the person who is going to lead on how we make sales, how we have that conversation, that dreaded sort of sales conversation. But calling on my own journey and what I've come to see and the way I've come to see it, I think will be very valuable for helping people to unbecome what they've become and to find that actually we know it's thought created, and to find that you can start seeing more and more and more of that thought created world and in that instant have that, as I said before, it's like ease, shrug it off, ease, it just drops away. And it comes back and it drops away and it comes back, drops away. But the delusion of it, if you like, gets weaker and weaker. That's been my experience. So what my passion is to help people just rediscover or uncover, I mean, it's endless words, but find themselves, because when they find themselves, the rest is going to flow, because that's what we are. We're in flow actually until we take ourselves out. But I then, you know, I'm not going to be coming in with, and here's some great ways that you can do this. So I couldn't even hear that before. I had to find my own flow and my own ease before I could actually hear deep enough to know, oh, that's a really great idea. I'm going to follow that strategy or that thing. So that's the way I see that we fuse together, or create this, you know, the way we work together is that we can offer, we've got our foundation piece, but my passion is sharing the principles and helping people deepen their understanding. And clearly in business, that is an area where people are very stuck. But I'm not going to be coming in the way that you do, with looking in that direction, but also coming in with all that valuable information, which we, why would we pretend it doesn't exist? It works. Of course it works.
I think one of the things that I love about both of you, but certainly Sheela, you have that information, the marketing background information, but you offer people the space to play with it, again, that word coming up, and find their way to, it's almost like, that there's this foundation of things that can be done, practical side, and then you help people be more comfortable and experiment and be okay with experimenting. And I think that's a great gift that you have.
I'm really pleased that you see it like that. That's perfect, because the play piece, I love this game of life. And actually, I just wanted to address what you said at the beginning. It's funny because I was just talking to one of the course participants about this, the retreat participants here yesterday, about playing the game of business, playing the game of life. And you said something about playing to win. And I think that's really interesting that you said that, because yesterday I was just exploring that, and I was saying to this guy, that, I always noticed this. I don't know if you've heard this said before, and I think there's so much truth in it now. But I've heard say, if you want to get to know somebody really quickly, sit and play a game with them for an hour, and you'll find out. And I think there's loads of truth in that, because I could see when I played a game, board game, for example, with Mark, and we've got a couple of friends that we've played a particular board game with several times. Now, I'll go in to win. Mark will, I'm going out as if he's out there, but he's not actually. Mark, Will, my partner, for people who don't know that, he tends to play to have a good time, just enjoy himself. And then the other couple that we play with, the lady, the wife, she seems to play to win as well. And then the guy, he plays to win, but he plays in a very different way. He takes loads of risks. And it's just really interesting how people play. It's only a board game, but I can't remember what it's actually called. It's The Rich Dad, Poor Dad, Cash Flow, something like that.
Cash Flow 101.
Is it? Cash Flow 101, that's it. So you've played that game as well. It's all about getting out of the money rat race and getting onto the, where you make the money. It's just really interesting how we play games. I think there's a crossover in how we play life and how we play business. So I'm much more aware at the moment, Gillian, about, am I really playing to win? Is that a good place to come from? Or is it more helpful to play the game of business just to play, just to have fun, just to enjoy it, just to be in it? I think for me it feels very different. Having that thought of playing to enjoy, really just have a good time. This is life, be in it. Okay, we're in business as well. Let's play, let's have some fun. That doesn't mean that, we can't have form around that. And, as you said, there are plenty of strategies, foundational pieces to put into place for business. Common sense dictates that. You need a bank account. You might need a PayPal account. Just simple things like that. They need to be there. We need clients to pay us so that we can stay in business. Simple things like that. But we can do all that from a sense of, let's have fun, let's enjoy this, let's just play with it. So I'm not sure whether I'm actually saying play the game of business to win anymore. I'm still kind of, because it feels like, well, I think there's a what do you call it? A little a footnote to that would be playing the game of life to win, as long as it doesn't matter whether you win or not. It's kind of going back to Jamie Smart's toxic goals. And we talked about this on the retreat as well. Funnily enough, Amy had us in pairs. Would you be? I'll be happy when. I can only be happy if, fill in the X. So we explored that, and actually that's where the conversation came up about the game of business, the game of life.
Yeah.
So Yeah, that's my take on it at the moment.
I love that, and it's like almost just setting the intention. You know, I want my business to be great, and whatever whatever my interpretation of great is, and kind of almost letting go of that then, and then just playing.
Yeah.
But but having that intention there, and knowing that I can't just sit around and wait for it to happen. So I've got to do some stuff as well.
Take some action. Yeah. Make some phone calls. Speak to some people. Yeah.
Well, that's the key piece, isn't it? And that's what I think that we've talked a lot about. And it's pick up the phone, have a conversation. Like, what gets in the way? What could possibly get in the way? Because we're doing it in other areas of our lives without a second thought. We do it in other areas of our lives where we give it a second thought, but it doesn't stop us. We might need to reflect a little more or wait for the right moment, but it's as if someone's marked the card in the pack, and oh no, I've got that card, it's been dealt to me, and now it's the business card. And it feels really...
You've got the joker.
Well, exactly, or the non-joke. You know, this is the bit where I get really...
Not the wild card. Yeah.
So, I mean, I think it would be good to just talk around that a little bit now, if that feels... I mean, it feels pertinent to me, given that we're looking at, you know, helping people to step into a greater ease and confidence, which the side effect of that is business grows. So it's swapping that. Well, where's the problem? Well, let's look at, not, as you said, the goal is not to keep focused on growing my business, but the goal is to say, like, let me let go. Let me just be more myself, because the side effect of that is my business going to grow. Because the side effect of that is that we've got this access to much greater common sense, much greater access to wisdom, and then to recall the knowledge that we've gained along the way, to remember the teleclasses we've been on, or the, you know, these really helpful and useful, you know, 3 points. But if we're really getting tight, which I was really very closing down a bit into, oh, you know, got to grow my business. How am I going to do that? How am I going to grow my business? That was like in the way, as opposed to what would I really, really want to do? Because that's how I started off. I started off with absolute clarity. What I wanted to do was share the principles. What I didn't do then was go forward in balance. I was just going on enthusiasm. I was going on a belief that I couldn't fail, that, you know, everybody would fall about when they heard this and go, yes, you know, let me buy this. I didn't have the first idea. So learning about, you know, let's label it, the sales conversation has been massively helpful. Doesn't mean I'm not afraid sometimes. Doesn't mean that I do cold calls, you know, I don't like them, but I don't want to do them in the way that I used to understand them. It's not about that. But I thought that was what it was about, and for some time I was thinking, I'm never going to be able to do it. I don't like it. It feels uncomfortable. But I had the whole premise that I had was flawed through a misunderstanding of my own. So that's what's been helpful to me, is that combination of learning more and more about who I am in hand with what's possible in my business. That just sort of opened up to me as a side effect, if you like, or an implication of, yeah, well, I was born confident. I was born selling. I sold myself all the time as a child because I wanted certain things. I wanted food, I wanted games, I wanted this, I wanted time, I wanted attention. And somewhere along the line, we just get a little bit weighed down, I think, with all those thoughts that make us feel X, Y, Z. Doesn't matter. We don't even need to label. I think pretty much anybody that's struggling or would love to feel freer that'll make words appear in their mind. I don't have to give people words. Does that make sense to you, Sheela?
It certainly does. Yeah, I love what you, as always, I love what you say about finding out who you are, because that was a big piece for you when I first met you around your business. It was, as you said, you were uncoachable. Yeah, I had a challenge there.
I could not bear the thought of being vulnerable in that way, to being seen in because we don't know what masks we're wearing or disguises we're wearing, because they are our second skin. So for me, the second skin had to be shed, but you can't do it. But it's what happens. And then there's more of that more familiarity with oh, I see, yeah. And it's interesting that a while back somebody said, well, you get very serious when you talk, sometimes when you're talking about your business, and you're not serious in nearly any other area. And I was thinking, that's true. But business has always felt very serious to me. It's like, this thing, got to get it right. I've just said all that, but so a lot reveals itself. And that, I think, in terms of sales, is just so important and so valuable.
I think there's a whole just a stigma around the sale. I mean, the sales conversation, which is what we're going to be addressing at the retreat, and just such a stigma about I've got to do this thing, and I've got to say something about money, and I've got to ask for some money, and I don't know how to do this, and all that. When, as I sit here right now, seems really obvious that it's thought. It's like they're just thoughts. They're just random thoughts popping in. You don't have to follow them. You don't have to give them any meaning. However, for most people, majority of people are so ingrained, are so conditional, we don't even recognise that they're happening at the time. We're in that soup of thought. We're in with that goldfish swimming around in water. So it feels really tight, uncomfortable, stressful, scary.
Fearful.
Fearful, scary. And that's what we're looking at this retreat, is helping people with the sales conversation, helping them. I was thinking about this earlier on. It just paralleled for me with a little story about me and the gym. I don't know if I've said this one before, but I had Mark's been 10 years we've been together, and in 10 years he's been telling me to go to the gym. In 10 years I've been saying, I don't like it. It's boring. I don't want to go. I know it's good for me. I know I don't need you to tell me all the reasons why to go. I know. But that didn't make me go. It didn't matter. All the good advice in the world wasn't going to make me go. It wasn't until one day, about 2 months ago, I had an insight. That insight said, it's time for you to take responsibility for your own health, Sheela, for your own body, for your strength, for your weaknesses in the physical body. Why don't you go check out the gym down the road that everybody says is great? And I did. I thought, well, okay, that's a step. I don't have to say yes. I can go along and I can find out. But as soon as I got there, I just knew it was the right thing, because the woman was so lovely. She took me around. She listened to everything I said. She heard me. She knew what I wanted. And I've been going ever since. It's 2 months now, which is, for me, I call it it's a miracle. It feels like a miracle, because I've 10 years so adamant that I'm not going. I hate it. It's boring. And suddenly I've had this shift where I had this insight around taking responsibility to myself. What's the next thing in that process? And so it feels to me like it's exactly the same with the sales conversation for people. We know the only way long-term change stays around is through insight. Somebody sees something fresh for themselves, they're inspired to go down that road. And so it won't matter, I don't think, how many times, for example with you, Sue, that I would say, just pick up the phone. You can do it, just pick up the phone, pick up the phone, you can do it. You might do it because I'm on your back to do it, but it wouldn't last. Tomorrow when I'm not there, you're not going to do it. Unless you have an insight around it and something shifts for you. And so for me, it feels very much that this retreat is about that. We're going to be helping people in this environment, creating this space for them to have the insights. And yeah, and I was going to say, we don't know how that will happen exactly, because we never know. But I know, having just gone through a 2-day retreat here, leading part of it as a participant partly, it's ripe for insight. I mean, just the environment is right, the quietness, the people, hearing other people's stories, listening to struggles with other people is just ripe for insight, for people to walk away from the retreat having the confidence. Because we said this earlier on, didn't we? When I asked the question and said, what would you love, if you were on this retreat, what would you love to walk away with? What would be the thing that you would love to walk away with? And I think your answer was something like, feel at ease to pick up the phone, go to a meeting without having no fear around it. Mine was, I would just love to have the thought, I would love to feel totally confident in having any conversation with anybody around sales, around becoming a client, or around anything. Like, that's what I felt I would want. And I feel very much that that's what we're going to be offering in the way we set up the retreat, with lots of lovely space, and the conversations that we'll be having, some of the exercises we'll be doing. So that's what's going to happen. Definitely, I just feel that so strongly around the having worked with people around this. I've seen it, the shift, but it comes from them. It's changing the eyes, it's changing the body. It's how could I not have seen that before? How? It's like, we just don't, do we? And then we do, and everything looks different.
Yeah.
Everything looks different.
I think space, that just rang a bell with me in a way, because what we're looking at is there needs to be space for insight to come. And that space, well, it doesn't have to be acres of space. It just has to be one moment, one clear moment where a new thought can come in, and that sometimes it's quiet, and sometimes it's one of those kind of, oh, how didn't I see that? And that's an important piece for me, because you couldn't have told me what to do. You could have said the words.
I tried.
I know, but if it doesn't resonate, because there's something blocking the way, and what's blocking the way is fear. And so if that exists, it's going to get in the way. And seeing that, then the words, there's a clear channel. The words come in, everything then makes sense. Oh, of course. I couldn't hear it properly because I was hearing through ears of fear. And, just we talked on our other call, didn't we, about listening. So the space is not just, we talked about the environment, we talked about the space for connection. I know that's one of my buzz phrases, but it's one of the things that was really helpful to me was being in association, being in with other people too, other learners along the way, and nearly all the courses I've ever attended, the weekend courses, whatever, it's not necessarily going to come from the front of house. And we've already declared we're not front of house people. We are, we're I think what we're offering is more subtle than that, and more powerful. But listening to other people, hearing and feeling that change in other people, maybe, or they just say something this way or that way. So I like the communication within the group setting as well. And that's whether it's a weekend course, whether it's a retreat, whether it's across the board, really. And I liken it to the times that I've sat here. I don't know why I've got this. I've never used cards as a metaphor before, but I've played a lot of solo patience. I've just been laying out the cards, and then, oh, no, I don't know what's going wrong. Collect them in, lay them out again. When am I going to get this thing out? And it's not like cards, because cards, there's going to be there was a game of chance. It's just seeing something differently. You lay things out differently, or something like that, and bingo. Because I was thinking about some of the connections I've been making recently, and some of the ways that I've had sales conversations that I haven't even known were sales conversations.
They're the best ones.
Well, I mean, you could not have told me that was possible before.
Oh, right.
I thought that you had to sell yourself, sell this idea, sell this, and it's not like that at all.
It can be. You can see people doing that regularly. Yes. It can be. Of course, it can be. Not my kind of selling, but yeah, it can be.
No, and it's not mine.
Yeah. No, but something that came out of this retreat that I've just been on again for me was just because I suppose I'm aware of, I suppose, not making anything wrong. So just because it doesn't suit me doesn't make it right or wrong. It just is. And so I don't want to go. I don't personally it's so difficult. I was going to go into labelling, which is so easy for us. We're just conditioned to do that, aren't we? Label this, label that, label the other, and then we're missing so much. So that label of a sales conversation, for example, is a prime example.
Yeah.
You know, what does it look like? Oh, it looks like this. You know, we've got a way we think it looks like in our mind. You know, how it has to go. Or people teach, you know, the process to go through it. This is what you do first. This is what you do next. This and you know, and I'm not saying that's wrong. Again, I don't want to make people have the impression that I'm saying that's wrong. It works. It works for some people. It doesn't work for others. It just is. You know.
What I like is when that next step shows up for me, because I'm not stupid. I've accumulated a lot of knowledge and awareness, and I've been a customer for my whole life. So where is it that I fail to see the union of the customer, you know, and the service? And I love it when people are really clear with me about a service they can offer. I just love it. It's great because I can make my mind up and I can feel, yeah. What I couldn't do was flip it and see myself just being really, really clear and open about what it is that I can help people with. Because there's a block. So it was the whole combination of things that I want to reproduce for other people. I want not, let's say reproduce, offer to other people, because I just think it's a winner. I think it's a winning formula. And that's me being really bold now. I mean, you know, I hope you can hear that. I don't feel like I'm being bold. I just can hear that there's a different tone to me. A real knowing, not what's right and wrong, but a knowing about the way that we shift and that what's possible for people around this, such that they can experience a shift, to see with a much clearer vision. Let's say.
Gillian, I don't feel like we're leaving you out of the conversation.
I'm loving it. And what just came up for me, and I actually wrote it down, was grounding, because what Sue was alluding to is when, you know, with the 3 principles, when we talk about grounding a lot, but when we have that certainty, that knowing that we're okay, and we've had enough experience of sharing the principles to see that we can facilitate an insight, who knows how, but something we say will spark an insight in somebody. And when you know, it's not, the words are just form, aren't they? But whatever happens, that somebody gets something, like you were talking about, Sue, earlier, you know, and like you were talking about, Sheela, going to the gym. You don't see it till you see it. But we know how profound and transformational it is. And to offer people that, it takes the doubts away, to me. That's what's so powerful about it. And because there's no technique, it's almost like I now can let that just be. And so I'm much more open for myself when I'm having a conversation, not necessarily a specific sales conversation, but just having a conversation with anybody. You never know where it's going to go. And that's what I find so fascinating about this. And I might hear them say something and just ask them a question, and suddenly you're in a whole new conversation because they heard something that has made them question what's their norm. And that's that opens the space, and that's what we're doing when we're talking to potential clients, isn't it? It's just that listening, deep listening,
for sure,
hearing what they are looking for, and we know we can give it to them if you like. So it's just helping them to see that we can do that.
That's what we talked about on our teleclasses. It's the huge piece for us, as we see in the sales conversation, is deep listening, is being able to be present. But for me, deep listening, again, labels, words, it's that being present, being in the now, being with that person, not listening for anywhere you can pull something out particularly and use it for later, as evidence against them or something like that. But because you wouldn't need to, if you are deep listening, you don't need to do that, because that just happens anyway. And then you get a sense of where that person is, where you are. Is there a is there a connection? Is there a way forward for the two of you? And then when a person's deep listening with a potential client, and if it's about a two-way thing, even better. If the person that you're speaking to is used to deep listening, that's fantastic. But if they're not, even if they're not, there becomes a point in the conversation. It's like a pivotal point. I think you can hear where there's a shift. There's a shift from, okay, that's enough of kind of the conversation. I'm ready to hear what you've got to offer me. That makes sense. So there's a time in the conversation where it's really obvious. If you're deep listening, if you're not, you miss it completely. But if you're there with that person, you will feel, sense, hear, see, whatever, however it comes to you, the place when it's time to say, right, do you want to go forward? Would you like to hear? I mean, I'm a great advocate of asking for permission always. Asking for permission to share something. That's because as I've learned as I've gone along, I think Bill Pettit says that you need a student in the room, kind of, So if there's nobody home, nobody listening, you might as well not bother. So asking permission kind of gives me the student in the room, if you like. It's okay. So you're here with me. Would you like to hear how we could take this further? Would you like to hear, or what could I do for you? And then again, listening to what could I do for you? Is there any way you see, that I could help you? So the deep listening piece for me personally, I feel it's 90% of the conversation. Now, people who, I suppose, traditional sales teachers would not teach that. They wouldn't teach that at all. It'd be about the script, and this is what you do next, and that's what you do, and you listen to this, and looking at the body language, etc., etc. I think if you're deeply listening, all that comes naturally anyway. It's just part of the flow of the conversation. It's part of what happens. It's like a dance. It's just a beautiful dance between two people. And when you're dancing with somebody and you. For me, it wouldn't be Mark, which is a bit sad. when you're dancing with somebody that's just that, and I know why. I've just clicked why it doesn't happen for me, Mark. I have a lot of thinking about the way he dances. So that's interesting.
Sheila.
I don't like the way he dances, so I'm like, oh no, and so I'm not just going with it. That's great. Yeah, just a little insight for me there. Yeah, it's a great one. When you're with somebody you want to dance with, I mean, it just flows, doesn't it? Beautiful. You really enjoy it. Sorry, go ahead.
Well, I guess, but there's also that begs another question. That you can also have that experience once the thinking about how someone else dances drops away. That's all that's left.
Yeah,
it's all that's left. But I was thinking about how many wonderful experiences I've had talking to people about introducing people to the principles, and then missing the moment because I haven't wanted the feeling to go away. I've wanted this, being so in tune, and they're really interested in asking me questions, maybe even giving me examples of, well, how could it help here or there? And I realised, in some respects, I wasted a lot of people's time, and it's innocent. But I think I've done that. I've had these very, very long, lovely conversations, but they haven't asked for them. I believe that they enjoyed them, but really what I didn't see that I can see now much more clearly is there was a moment where that conversation needed to end, but the feeling didn't have to end with that. It just meant that I could then say to them, this is, would you like to hear about how this, the simplicity of what we've been talking about can be offered to you? And you might have ideas already from that conversation and it could be run like this. You could have gone prepared with some ideas. Well, I do it these 3 different ways. It doesn't matter. That detail doesn't matter. It's just that I couldn't bear that nice feeling because I thought I was going to muck it up, somehow spoil it, bring out that non-joker card, and then go. Sorry. Yeah,
so that's the perfect example of you being in the way, and that's what we're going to be talking about in the retreat again. Is that, and that's all it is. It's the shedding of the personal thinking, isn't it? The shedding of the personal thinking, the identification with what the thinking that comes along. So suddenly you're like, oh, I don't want this feeling to go away. Where if you're saying I don't want this feeling to go away, you're not serving the person in front of you.
And it's funny.
You're making it about you, not them. Although it appears that you're making it about them. But it's not.
I almost knew it at the time. It was almost as if, and we talk about that, don't we? Like they're a little quiet. there was a sense, I did have a sense that this is going on too long.
Mm.
You know,
Oh, I've had
nice
that
as
too.
it is.
Mm. Mm.
So,
Especially with you.
Oh, well, good. But you see, the thing is, as well, another piece
Stop
of
being
this.
serious about business, so you're doing it again.
Listen, this is deadly serious. Now, I was thinking as well, one of the things that's been valuable to me, and I think other people have expressed this, is practice. Like, when do we get to practice when it's not the real thing, as it were? And I think both of us came up with that in the same instant. That, like, well, it's in the experience of it. And actually, when you're deep listening, it's deep listening. It's not role play. It's deep listening every time. So, but the idea of dropping into that, and the idea of being able to express yourself, and express yourself again, and just see to play with the idea of what could I say about me? What could I say about what I've got to offer? And have a perfectly safe place to do that. You could go bonkers with it just to see how bonkers it all is, to be worried about it. You know, you could just say most outlandish things and feel how it feels, which of course we wouldn't encourage people to do. We want to be authentic.
I don't know, will we?
Yeah, so there's so many pieces, but I think the sales conversation, we keep coming back to that. You know,
it's that piece
that thing makes or breaks.
Makes or breaks a business. Yeah. You know, if you can't, I heard this
not
a long
having
time
them.
ago. Yeah, exactly. I mean, people go, I haven't got any clients. Well, how many conversations have you had? What do you mean? I've had that conversation with no end of people. What do you mean? Well, how many people are you actually talking about what you do with? Or how many people are you talking with about what you do? Or about how you could help them? Finding out from them what they need to find out if you can actually help them. Oh, well, none.
And the answer for me would have been, I've been spending hours and hours trying to have the right literature, the right email, the right
leaflets, yeah.
Website good enough.
Business card, yeah.
And you know, knowing as well at some level, this isn't what I'm here to do.
It's a great technique with hiding out. I mean, I can't tell you how many people I've spoken to that do that. I've got to get my website right. I've got to get the business cards right. I've got to get that. Then I'll go out. Then I'll speak to people, because until that's ready, I mean, just thought, you know, kind of like our sales page for this.
Yes.
Read, you know, kind of, I'm trying to get it just perfect, and in the end, lovely Gillian has come along this morning and gone, boom, 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 there you go. I'm like, oh, okay. It's really not my job.
But I was playing, it wasn't serious, you see. I was having some fun experimenting with that package I've got that does sales pages.
I mean, that's just a wonderful example. I was getting very serious about it, how I wanted it to look and how I wanted it to be. I mean, you've written the text, which is really stories, you know, a lot of it, you've tweaked it for us, and I just love it. But, you know, I wanted to have it looking just right, and it was like, oh.
As if there is a right.
And you just come along and go, there it is. Yeah, exactly.
Well, sometimes, I mean, that's the value of having somebody at your elbow or just standing here just to remind you. It's all we're doing for each other all the time. And we can also remind ourselves. But the chances are increased. This is the way I see it. The chances are increased that we will get more in the flow of reminding ourselves when we get to see more and more of what it is that makes us forget, or seems to be the thing that, you know, stops us remembering. So I think and now what I love about all this is I don't know. I haven't got to an end. I haven't got to a point where I think, I know how to grow my business. Yeah, what I know is that I know how to learn how to keep growing it, because it's not going to stay the same either. I thought there would be this moment where I think, this is what I do now, week in, week out. That didn't appeal to me. And actually, I don't have to do that week in and week out. I might want to do something really quite different, in a different way, with a different person. And that's fine. It's all open. I didn't know that. I thought there was this thing I'd get. It's like trying to get, you know, like the Ugly Sisters at the ball. I was trying to get my feet into shoes that didn't fit. Although I don't have enormous feet, obviously. I dance very well. But you know what I'm saying.
I know. There was something I just wanted to mention about, that just came to me about insight when I was talking about insight earlier on, and something again that came up at this retreat, and it's come up many times before. And that's that we don't always know what the insight is. And I think that's incredibly important. You know, insight can happen without us even knowing. We may notice that, oh, something's changed. When we can't put our finger on what it is. And I think that's incredibly important to remember, because I know when I first came to the principals found me, I wasn't having these huge insights. I mean, people go, oh, I had this insight and and I'm thinking, I'm not having any. And then somebody else would tell me, I'm not having it. And Mark would say, I'm not getting any huge insights. I must be doing something wrong. I'm not getting it, or you know, I'm too busy. But as you know, time went on, and I spoke to a few teachers around this. They explained to me that you don't always know what your insights are, and that was a big relief to me, because they said, have you noticed anything, you know, changed in your life? I was like, yeah, I think I feel more relaxed, you know, and I could see certainly with my relationship with Mark, you know, much better. Though I couldn't. Well, the big insight was the thought-feeling connection for me there, but other things were shifting, and it doesn't matter as long as you can feel. I guess, you don't even have to feel it, but something's shifting, something's happening, something. You know, I was afraid of speaking to that person yesterday about come and work with me, and today I'm not. What's that? You know, how's that changed? And it doesn't matter. Just put that down to an insight, an internal shift, whatever another label you want to put on it. But something's shifted.
So it's the difference between looking for insight as well, isn't it?
Yeah.
If I'm on the lookout for insight, then I've got an idea of what it is, and it's already in the form because of I've had the thought about it, as opposed to, well, it's there. It's part of who I am. Insight is one of my gifts, if you like. So, well, I can take my eye off it. I don't have to be concerned that I'm creating them or I'm attracting them. But what I can do is with each insight, you get a different perspective. But it's like if I'm too near the fire and I'm too warm, I just will step away. And it's so insight that's much more physical. But with insight, it's like I'm not going to go in those long conversations anymore, because I've seen now that I'm never going to see that. You know, if I hadn't seen that, I would just be repeating the same thing and then feeling, oh no, well, I don't know if they're interested or not, because I never asked. I mean, interested in what I had to offer beyond a nice conversation that went on quite a long time over several cups of tea. So it's that I think being more focused, if you like, because I know that's the way it gets results. In terms of, there's no point in me having and wanting and being passionate about helping people to understand more about the principles and getting more grounding in their understanding if I don't make that clear. Because. So we're running close to time. I was just wondering really whether we should be a bit more specific here.
I was just going to ask you that question. I don't know whether you just heard me typing, but I was just posting the link that we're going to be giving out in a minute. So it's on the Google Hangout. But yes, if you ladies would like to share some of the details of the retreat that you've got coming up.
Do you want to start?
No, you kick off on that.
Yeah, I thought you might say that.
No.
Well, you know, the details are really that it's a 4-night all-inclusive hotel in Albia, here on the Costa Blanca. Beautiful resort where we've just held this last retreat. It's a 3-star hotel. Like I say, all meals are included. We're also including a holistic treatment with the lovely Amanda, who we have. She's the 3 principal facilitator here as well. And she does holistic treatments, and we've kind of set it up this way because we want people to have that environment of being relaxed, and we've set it up that we'll be having sessions in the morning, and then lovely big spaces in the afternoon, and then some optional sessions for an hour or 2 in the evening just before dinner, to come back, maybe to share insights, maybe some more information. We don't know what's going to happen there, but we do know that we've set this up in a way that's very conducive, as we've been saying, for people to relax, to chill, to be predisposed to seeing things for themselves, and to really dig in. I think that's important. Really dig into, you know, how they see sales, what sales means to them, and what they want to achieve as far as the sales conversation goes, as far as growing their business goes. And we haven't made it an all-encompassing grow your business retreat on purpose. We've made it very specific to the sales conversation because that's what we're hearing, that's the place that people are getting stuck in. You know, they can do the websites, they can do this, they can do that, they can go and set a Google Hangout up now, and they can, but when it comes to actually creating clients, getting clients, attracting clients, whatever labels again you want to put on that, you know, it seems to be a big stumbling block for the majority of people. And that's why we've decided to address that specific topic on the retreat. Now, that doesn't mean to say that other things won't come up and that we won't address those, because we're open to helping people in whatever way is necessary. But at the moment, the topic appears to be that. And that's what we're going for at the moment. And it's so rich. I mean, I just see that. I heard this quite a while ago. I don't think I've said this today, but I heard it and it just stuck with me because it inspired me to learn about sales. And it was, you know, if you can sell, you'll never be short of money. If you know how to have a sales conversation, you never have to worry about money again. You know, you never have to think about whether money's going to come in or not, because if you know how to sell, you can always sell. And to me, that's just it inspired me to go out and learn how to have these sales conversations. Mine have definitely morphed over time with learning, and that's what happens with everybody. You get comfortable with your own way of doing things.
It's interesting listening to you there, because the big piece for me in that is I want to be able to do that, but I want to feel in ease when I do that. I don't want to have to suppress any feelings. I want to clear out the stinky thinking. I had this idea of like a car wash, so people are going to come in, you know, and then they're going to go through this car wash experience of the retreat, and the bits or the scratches on the lenses or the dirty bits on the lenses are just going to go, wow, I see it. Just the simplicity of it, but we don't know. We don't know what that means for each individual person, but what we do know is that each individual person can have those sorts of results, that they can shed just naturally that, you know, too tight, uncomfortable, you know, whether it's, you could just say for some people it'd be just fear of rejection. It could be something as rooted as that, but it's going to be about fear. Now the interesting thing is, all that's left if that dies down is confidence. That's what's there anyway, and it's the overlay. So the car wash washes away the overlay. It's probably not the greatest analogy, but it's what came to me in the moment.
Have you lost Sue, Gillian, as well? Have you lost her picture?
No, I'm still seeing Sue. I'm seeing you. I'm seeing everybody.
Okay. Just me then. So I see. Oh, I've lost you as well. It just must be my system. So we've got the wonderful page that you set up for us, Gillian. Are you going to give out the link, or do you want me to do that?
Yes, and I've just realised that it's the most horrendously long link.
I realised that when I saw it.
I was just thinking, I can't believe that. Okay, so that's a bit of learning for next time, is to shorten the link. It is on the Google Hangout in the comment section. I'll put it on the comment section in the recording, which will be on YouTube of this as well. The www is jillian-fox.com/inside-business-retreat-Sheela-Sue-Pankiewicz and a slash after that. So I think the best thing is for people to just look at the comment section on both the YouTube and the Google Hangout, and there is an email going out for people that are registered through Eventbrite that will also have that link to it. And obviously, Sheila, if you want to give out your email, then that may be the best way.
The simplest thing is if somebody would like to have a conversation with me, a sales conversation, if they would like, you know, it's very ironic. Then just email me at Sheela, which is SHEELA, Masand, Sheela at SheelaMasand.com. And Sue, do you want to give your email address?
Sue at principledwellbeing.com. Yeah, and we would encourage people just to speak to us anyway. We'd love to hear from people, because it's lovely to hear if you heard something that's great, or if there's a question, or it doesn't really matter. We'd love to we'd love to hear from people, and obviously we'd like to tell you more if you're interested in how we can serve you with this two sides to the same coin. But for me was the piece that's what made the difference. The reason that I became coachable was that I realized that you were not going to force me to wear too tight shoes. And I had my own understanding, and obviously that the capacity now to be reminded is increased enormously since I started out on this road. I've got so many I probably can't even count how many lovely new friends and associates I have simply through following this journey of the three principles. And I can't measure in any way the difference it's made to my whole life and how it's showing up in the areas that were always my fourth principle. And business would have been one of my fourth principles. Just through a really deep held misunderstanding. So I don't want other people to have that holding them back. And I'm very happy to be very open about the fits and starts and the trials and tribulations. Call it what you will, but just the fact that I can smile about it now is just fun.
Certainly, and I would encourage anybody to reach out. Anybody who's in the three principles, coach, counsellor, practitioner, wanting to work with more people. Just have it, come along. We're happy to chat with you and see if this is the right fit. Because we only obviously encourage people to come along if they are the right fit and they think this can help them, and we can see that it can. That's what we really want to do. We're here to serve. So yeah, please get in touch. Have a look at our wonderful sales page done by the lovely Gillian Fox. Thank you so much.
With the incredibly long link on it.
That is the longest link there's ever been.
There's always something new to see.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
And just one last thing. I mean, I feel like when you both talk, when you said earlier on, Gillian, about my way of helping and supporting is, not making people do things my way, and so I'll share ideas, I'll share what's worked for other people, I'll share what's worked for me. I always say your wisdom trumps everything. Your wisdom is there to guide you. It's your wisdom that counts. So I'm going to say that for this too. With the retreat, listen to your own wisdom, listen to your own guidance, and you'll know what's right. Even if the next step is to speak to Sue or I, go for that one. Doesn't mean it's going to take you all the way down the road to the business retreat, but we're open to that too. Yeah.
And I see that what will be showing up is something that I absolutely know. And going back to your comment, Gillian, about what we can really feel grounded in is that being able to listen to people, being able to connect at that deep level, because that in itself is the magic dust, really. Once we get down to the, get down to the business of business.
Playing the game of business.
And practicing and having fun and hanging out and just seeing, shining the light.
Thank you, Gillian, for making this possible.
It's been lovely talking to you both, ladies. And,
really enjoyed it.
Thank you so much. And
thanks to everyone who's out there.
Definitely.
Yep. Yeah, and thank you to all our viewers, and again, thank you to Sue and Sheila. Bye for now.
Bye-bye.
Bye.